Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session. We discuss AI powered sales and how AI is redefining the selling process at enterprise and all businesses in general. I'm Pranali. I head marketing at Sales Table, and I'm super thrilled to have you all here. Uh, as we narrow down on this topic, the primary trigger was we see that the business landscape is changing faster than ever, and so is the sales function. Teams are getting drowned in CRM data, reps are chasing deals uncertainly long. The leaders at the other end are struggling to really predict future in these volatile markets. In midst of all this chaos, is AI really the solution, to break through? So today, let's crack this open. We'll explore how AI is turning sales into science, where we use the human creativity and exactly decipher what our team needs to thrive in 2025. And we are doing this with someone who has seen it all in action. Joining us is Amit Khanzode today. Amit, hi Amit, thanks for
Hi.
joining us.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi,
Yeah.
Pranali.
So quick, brief introduction. Amit's accolades are quite long, but I'll try to summarize it in some time. So Amit heads the sales at Simple Works. He leads the organization currently for the B2B enterprise sales for CRM application. Prior to Simple CRM, Amit was a co-founder at Grapple Solution Private Limited, where he handled strategy, product development, marketing. So, pretty much all of it as like a co-founder and leading the team. Earlier to that, he worked as a DGM at Tata Communications Limited, where he led multiple projects within the banking sector, where he was deeply involved in enterprise level applications and payment systems. Beyond all his full-time professional roles, Amit is also super active in social initiatives and passionate about skill development programs in youth. He works for NASCOM and Catalyst India, to name a few. So Amit, I mean, amazing to have you here. We couldn't have done this topic with anybody else apart from you.
Sure.
Let's jump right into the topic now.
Yeah.
Since you have been at the forefront of this entire shift, with AI and everything, what's that one transformation which you think, AI really triggered, which even the seasoned leaders might not have seen coming?
Yeah. See, the AI is from a concept is not so new, right? So, I did my B in computer science, passed out in 1998, and we used to have AI as one of the subject during our final year, right?
Yeah,
The concept started with basically to start with a pattern matching to a greater extent, right? And being that particular point in time, the data which you required was less. Today, what fuels the entire AI game is the data availability across the places, right?
true.
Data coming from all across is what we are looking at it, and that is where once the data is there, then the possibilities are starts increasing to a great extent. By you do analysis out of it, you do inferences out of it, right? And when you have this data from a sales angle, it also helps sales leader to a greater extent to devise the strategy what is there, right?
Right.
Typically, because that been traditionally sales has been done on a lot of gut feel, a lot of intuitions to a certain extent,
Absolutely.
because collating those data at one particular point in time, even sources wise, was very difficult to a level. And that is where it was based on a lot of your experience, past experience coming from the industry, the various cycles, the various seasonal fluctuations was only known by the veterans, those who worked into those particular industry, right? So today, what sales leader was not expecting and what is happening is that today your entire 2 decades or 3 decades of experience is also not work if you are not in tune with what's happening in the world. Okay, with the AI capabilities, even the junior most guys are now knows what's happening in the industry, right?
True.
So the entire earlier in tech industry, it was already proven that the youngsters are much better than the mid-level guys or senior guys because they grasp the technology very fast, right?
True,
Now,
true.
similar things have started looking at that perspective that youngsters may catch up very fast, giving their technology know-how, the fluency which they use the various tools primarily coming from a lot of places which has specific AI use cases within sales, right?
Right.
So as a leader per se now is you cannot say that okay, just because you have experience in a certain industry, you are a leader, right?
Got it.
Yeah, so to be a leader is basically now it's more towards how you have that wisdom coming in from your experiences, not from only a technical know-how, or maybe not from the product expertise, or not from industry expertise, but how you translate that expert experience and knowledge into a wisdom,
Correct.
which has its own cycle, which cannot be come through a very fresher guys having a couple of years of experience, right? So
True,
that
true.
is what is I think sales leader will try to understand, and that is what everyone from that leadership perspective also has to understand, that today's generation can give much more better insights than what we know earlier, right? So that these are the surprises which we are coming across nowadays.
Absolutely, Amit. I think, I mean, you really summarized it well. And then, yes, I mean, you spoke about, like, initially about like the traditional approach of sales of, like, relying more on the gut feel and stuff. But definitely with so much of data processing, data analytics, again, being like the another buzzword today, along with AI, they work pretty like hand in hand. How do you, what's your experience, and, how do you feel that what kind of accuracy really all these tools bring? And enable sales teams to really perform better as
Yeah,
compared to what we used to do traditionally.
right. So no matter how the AI models are evolving, there are a lot of foundation models also getting built up, right? From various places, there are different parameters they are looking at it. There is a lot of parameters that everyone is trying to see that okay, whether you need to have a huge number of parameters to be considered, or whether you want to look at the small LLMs or maybe mini LLMs to look at very specific use cases to refer those parameters and points, right? Based on what you want to achieve through that particular AI model is what you are going to use that, right? Considering that also, no matter what you say, but you cannot just blindly trust whatever output coming from AI. Okay, so
Yes.
accuracy level could be 95%, could be 98%, could be 96%, but cannot give 100% trust on AI. Today we have not reached to that place, right? So I cannot just take my decision based on just AI provided. So human intervention, human overlook has to happen on that particular water output, because today when we say AI is giving you accurate answer, the first thing is that because I know that answer is right, I believe it. AI is giving me right answer because I already know that this is the answer.
True.
Okay,
So
or
I
this is
think that's where exactly the experience and the wisdom that you just like referred like couple of minutes back really comes into picture, right?
absolutely, yeah. So
Great.
because I know already, I can say that okay, AI is giving a right answer. But if the answer comes which I don't know, then
Right.
it creates a problem for you whether I should trust or I should not trust, right?
True,
But
true.
then I also don't know, and then how it came is also explainable question. So a lot of debate which is happening on AI side is that whatever outcomes are coming, how you will
Mhm.
explain that how that outcome has come, right? Do you have really a thought process, or do you have really logics behind it to prove that okay, whatever has been given by AI? Because while AI gives an answer, it considers a lot of data points which we are not aware, right?
Right.
So
True,
that is
true.
where the explainability comes a big question. And when you are at a higher positions, or maybe at a regulatory compliance side of it to a certain level, or you are giving commitments to a board in terms of a sales target, this has to be very, very carefully looked at it, that okay, what exactly I am going to say it here. And even if I am using a AI tool, I should take it as a baseline, but
Right.
I need to apply my mind by saying okay, how much should I trust this data and that. But as the engines are improving, I think accuracy level are increasing to a greater extent, and people are using different models based on their use cases.
Great, great. So then, just like a minor continuation to this point, like, what, according to you, which are the data sources, like, one should really consider, or like, which are then relevant, since we have so many of those
Yeah.
again.
So there are two to three types of data sources, right? So typically, if you look at it, you are if you are already established organizations has done the business for quite a few years, then you
Mm-hmm.
definitely have the structured data which lies in your databases by saying, okay, how many deals has been closed last year, at what price I closed those particular deals, right? Which are the customers those who are looked at it? What is my churn rate? What how many new customers? What how many customers I lose in last year, right? So past historical data is one of the point which is come from a structured data, right? Which is to a certain level is easy because you have a typical statistical models to do that. The beauty of AI comes when it comes from unstructured data, basically from industry level. Okay, what level of different articles coming on industry side of it to a level, right? And how you analyze that in conjunction to a structured data, right? So now again, these two data are to a certain extent are static data, where I have a structured data which is in lying in my database. Then there is a data which is in a my basically the white notes or maybe PDFs, which I need to relate to this. Then third is which is dynamic data coming from your different websites or different resources. That's what's happening on the industry. What is there dynamically? What's happening every quarter or every month or every week? What's happening in a particular industry? How the stock markets are performing? Is my target market company is also doing good into stock market, right? It means they are
Right.
doing really well. So should I go as a prospect to them from that perspective? So they have money to spend to a certain level. So this kind of data sources are primarily so past performance is one. Seasonal fluctuations we need to see, depends on the industry which we are in, right? Then you have a customer basically looking at what is the buying patterns, consumer behavior we need to consider. So different sources we need to look at it when we thought through a sales strategy, and it has to be a combination of all three. It's very difficult as of now because when you want to relate and send a particular query to a AI by saying this is what I want to answer, right? So tell me that, okay, what will be my sales in this particular month, right? So yes, the AI has to get to a lot of data, which is structured data, unstructured data, as well as the dynamic data, and then combinedly it has to give you the answers, which is not hallucinating the answers, right? So because today if you ask anything to a particular bot, it tries to give an answer even if it does not know, right? Because it's like I need to give an
Correct.
answer irrespective of whether I don't know or I don't know, right? So how to then clear out that particular noise basically and have a particular insights is what most of the organizations are doing it. And so all kinds of data are there, but 90% data still is structured because you based on the past performance which is in the database level, and then you have a 10-15% coming from unstructured and dynamic data.
That's really insightful, Amit. I mean, it was quite a learning for me, and you really made it like so simplifiedly, simply segmented it. I mean, really great. And frankly, as you said, these numbers of 95% accuracy, 96, 98, like even as as a marketer or like a layman who is just getting into this whole digitization and the AI revolution, these numbers look really staggering. Like while we are at it, and you really spoke about how we really use those AI engines. Can you can we really quickly dig into any of your a case study, so that the listeners can really relate it from a real life example, how AI engine, like with all the tools and the engine, the product, the forecasting accuracy and everything, has really boosted the sales productivity of the organization.
So, AI is now is a part of our life, right? So, be it any profession, AI is working in your daily life. So, it has become a part of daily life for everyone, irrespective of your job profession. And when we look at from a sales, so sales has a different stages as Philip Kotler puts in the marketing, right? It starts from prospecting, suspecting, and then prospecting, and then you goes into nurturing the lead, and then you get into sales closure, basically negotiation and all. At every stage, if you look at it, the AI is going to work, right? So
Correct.
now today, if you look at it, what we are trying to do it primarily with our organizations to see that when I'm creating a particular lead, right? So as a particular prospect, now depends on what industry I'm targeting. There are certain sets of accounts because we are working. So pardon me if there are B2C people watching this particular webinar, but my experience comes from a B2B to a certain extent, right? So any segment or any sector within B2B will always have a named accounts to a level that which you want to target, right? which
Right.
definitely has two aspects. So, besides your existing account, which you want to just nourish and flourish over the period of time to increase your pie to a level, then you have a greenfield opportunity where no one is present, and then you also look to look at, okay, how I'm going to churn from the competition to your side of it, right? So these are the
Right.
two ways you look for those particular leads. Now once you have that particular account, and when you know that, okay, this is my account, now you can use the AI engine to find out basically, okay, what is that organization is right now, in what positions they are in, how they are performing in as of now from a financial perspective, right? You can get the definitely the connects from the LinkedIn to say that who are the top decision making people there, right? Now
Correct.
you have those connects, you know that organization. Now you can, based on that, you can create a pitch which is very customized to that particular account, right?
Makes
Maybe
sense.
with respect to account, that if they have recently won a very large deal from markets, and you know that, okay, they won this particular contract, you can congratulate them to a level. Secondly, if a person whom you are reaching out to, he has already on put a LinkedIn post by saying he has just received an award from someone on this particular category, you can just congratulate them to a level, right? Now, once you do that kind of interaction with him, it immensely gives a very personal touch to a customer by saying he is aware, or the person who is trying to reach out to me is aware what's happening in my company, right? He's much
True.
more involved.
Yes.
It is not one of his looking at a transactional level dealing from a customer perspective. So that involvement with that particular person or organization start building up a trust. Okay, that
Right.
okay, he's interested, and once, and as a human being, someone is interested in you is what you started dealing with that particular person more and more, right? Then you
Correct.
want to talk to them, you want to interact with them, because you believe that you are interested in him, and you are not just sending a very standard email by saying, okay, these are my product features and this is my right. So that is from a lead perspective. Now similarly, you can take it to every level by saying, okay, from a negotiation side, what should be my product pricing, what I am doing, what is the competition are offering, where should my benchmarking is there, right? From a sales targeting, what is my quarterly? So compared to last quarter, last year, same quarter. So we typically have a focus area in banking side of it. Now banking, if you look at it, April, May typically go slow because they just open with the March ending at right, and the plannings are
Right.
not. So that's the cyclical nature. Now you cannot have, you have experience of that by saying, okay, so your pipeline has to build accordingly by saying, okay, this quarter will may go slow,
Correct.
but then I
Right.
need to build a pipeline by saying, and my talk has to go, because there's no point in pushing for a deal in April when just the March ending is happening, right?
True.
So
True.
customer will also. So you need to start building, and that is how your conversation has. Because if you start pushing a person in April or a March ending period for a particular deal, he may get irritated. The customer may get irritated by saying these people don't understand the industry. That when
Right.
it's March ending, how the banks are under pressure or any financial is under pressure, right? Now you cannot talk deal on those particular time or new deal opening. If you are already on a closing stage, that's okay, which is just as a part of a process, right? But
Yeah.
if you have to start a new direction in that process, then you cannot do. So these all stages, if you put it into a data, and if you have a data resources and come that, I think this greatly helps you to see that how your planning works. So and then how you need to build a sales team, how you want to manage your day to weekly activities, monthly activities, how the sales team has to have their travel plans, right? Primarily
Yeah.
because if they have to at all travel, then which period is better for travel? In Mumbai kind of city, if it is a monsoon, then you need to be consider those factors also, right? It's very
Correct.
difficult to catch up in monsoons to a certain extent. So these all factors has to be considered, and being in AI in place, I think this all data. So simply to put it in two buckets, wherever data use AI, wherever humans use humans, right? So it's how
Yes.
the segregation has to happen.
Fascinating. Yes, absolutely, Amit. So, I mean, definitely, it's just not about predicting the future as it is like picking from the data, but definitely these insights help us align the entire ecosystem. I mean,
Yeah.
not just from a sales team perspective, but then there are so many, as you mentioned, the travel thing. So, the
Yeah,
entire, the planning can happen at a much optimal level, like
absolutely,
using
absolutely.
these tools.
Yeah,
So, like we spoke pretty much like, like marketing sales, like some aspects of marketing which opens up the funnel for the sales teams.
Hmm.
But when it comes to very targeted approach of like, deal prioritization, especially because you have such a strong B2B background,
Yeah.
like, how AI driven prioritization really is like, helpful. Because I mean, these days with so much of noise around, like,
Hmm.
the consumer is also getting like, pushed, and the sales cycle, as we hear, keeps extending, right?
Yeah.
So how does AI really play a role in this, like, beyond the intuition and the gut feel? Like, what are the risks that a sales guy really run if they are not really using AI in their approach today?
So, see, typically in old days, what used to happen is that information was key, right?
Hmm.
Even uh, in old days when there were no mobile phones, also reaching to a right person was like an achievement, right?
Yes.
During the day, right? That I met a certain person at a certain level, and that also has to happen in physical because there was no mobile phones to a level.
True.
Right? Those were the times when the achievement was lies in a very very small achievements. Someone has you call someone and he picked up a phone and say you come back was a very delightful moment, right?
True.
To a
True.
level. Then having certain level of competition informations coming from a client, there was a huge achievement feeling by saying, okay, I know now what competition offers, and
Correct.
I'm able to get some kind of a prospects or some kind of a proposal details from him to understand, okay, what competition offers, right? In today's era, that those all things does not matter, right? When there's a classical debate is happening is whether it's a 70 hour or 80 hour or 90 hour week, right? Typically, if you look at it, because your day-to-day activities in terms of the routine activities which a salesperson has to do it has been automated to a greater level or has been easily been there, right? The next stage is come is that how you innovate and how you basically bring innovation in entire process. Now,
Right.
when you want to innovate something, which is a human element to it, because AI may not innovate to a greater extent, it can give you what has happened and what could happen just basis on the extending or extrapolation of the existing data.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
But then innovation is not about extrapolation of the data. Innovation is something which no one has done before, or even have done before. Maybe the way of done has to be differently there. Now,
Correct.
when innovation is there, then your mind is continuously has to work on that. So whether you're physically working or physically not working, right? Your mind is working 112 hours, 8 hours sleep on a week. If you leave that, your mind has to work 112 hours.
Correct.
So actual debate is 70, 80, 90 hours is okay, but it's not a physical work to a level, right? It's a mind work because we all are now on laptops to a level. We are actually not working in factories or physical work is required, right? Or
Correct.
even if we talk about coding is now if AI takes over the coding part of it. Now what remains is basically beyond that. Now beyond that is all about mind, which if you have to work best because this data is available to everyone. Now you are not the only privileged person who is receiving that data, right? AI is not
Actually.
your only property. It's not something which you only you can use. While you are using, your competition also using the
Correct.
same skill.
Exactly.
So they are also getting the same information, same insights. So now your job comes what beyond that, right? When
Right.
everything is at equal level, what X is is getting done is basically beyond that data points, right?
Correct.
So that innovation basically maybe relationship, maybe empathy to a level. So that is what a sales guy has to bring in. So this is where I think from a real life experience when we are looking at it is how you work smartly uh, than more than hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work
True.
has been taken over by AI now. So
Yes.
right.
So true.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually, because I mean, then there is this whole debate about like, AI taking over the roles, and cutting manpower requirements, etc., etc. But then, as you're summarizing it well, like, and even something just referring to some reading that I had done before, it's like AI can really process what already exists faster than us as a human, but
Yeah,
anything new is something that only we can create, right?
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
taking by that, obviously, like, when the question comes is like, will AI be replacing the SDRs or AEs, like, or simply taking over the initial scoping
Hmm.
work, the prospecting and everything, or I mean, how do you really see the roles of a sales rep being redefined with AI
Yeah.
now?
So as we are discussing is basically whatever the routine work, right? In terms of the business as usual to a level, making maybe leads to a certain extent, qualifying the leads, lead scoring, right?
Correct.
Maybe
Yeah.
creating a proposals, maybe creating the PPTs to a level, right? Where as I was saying, that was an achievement during the day because if I have to spend 8 hours in a day, I today I made a PPT was like kind of an achievement earlier. Now today, 10 minutes you just
Right.
put up the details and then the PPT is ready, right? So your
Correct.
time, what we are used to happen on a very regular activities or business as usual, will not be expected by today's account executives or sales development representatives, right?
Right.
More of now will is going as I said. So I always believe in five pillars of basically it's called human centered innovations to a greater extent, right? So when you do that, so one is we will discuss on intuition, but intuition is what defines humans, right? So it's always
Yes.
in earlier days also, and I don't know whether today's interviews also the sales leader may ask questions to any sales guys that can you sell basically fridge to an Eskimo, right? Okay, so that is that, right? So your data says that Eskimo does not need fridge, but a real sales guy will sell still a fridge to a Eskimo.
True,
So it's
true, true.
innovative use to a
Absolutely,
level,
yes.
right? So we in earlier
Yeah.
days used to learn in business schools of case studies in Punjab. They are using the washing machines, the typical old washing machines for making the lassis in dhabas, right? Now, consumption
Right.
of those washing machines in Punjab dhabas were much higher than household use to a greater level, right? So, how you
Correct.
basically
Correct. Yeah.
go against that particular whatever the market is saying, right? Or how you sell comb to a bald person, right? Where there is no need, right?
Right.
So,
Correct.
these are the
Yes. That's
questions where
another classic
typically
one.
a sales
Yeah.
guy, and that is where the question always comes whether sales is science or an art, right? So yes, to a level it's a
Yeah.
science, but somewhere you require that art also. And that art, which when I
True,
was
true.
also referring to earlier our discussion on innovation, right? So intuition is one, which defines the humans. Second is innovation because that has to come from a humans only. Then you required
Correct.
you call it a compassion. I call it more than empathy, compassion, because in empathy also like you are relatable to that particular person. You also understand his situation, but you are not strong enough to make him come back from the situation. Okay, but compassion is
That's
something that you are
amazing.
strong enough
Yeah.
to make him come back from his situation. So that is where the compassion,
Amazing.
the collaboration, the teamwork, because today
Yes.
when technology is getting and there are a lot of collaboration tools are there, but if you look at on a physical environment on one-to-one basis, collaboration has been missing, and that is where a lot of organizations now insisting people to come to office because they understand that online is okay as long as you are doing business as usual, but when it requires a brainstorming, we need people in the
Yeah.
offices, right? Because collaboration real fosters
True.
in real environments to a greater extent, right? And then last one is ethics.
Right.
So that AI cannot define what is right for that, what is integrity and what is ethics, right? That also cannot be defined by AI. That has to be defined by the person, right? So any sales executive or any SDR or account executive will have to keep this in mind. So his routine job has been done now. He does not have to much worry about creating the
Correct.
PPTs or proposals or lead scoring, which lead I need to follow. No. But when you call a customer, how empathetic and compassionate with that particular person, right? How you talk to that particular person, right? Even if you have to do a collection for that particular person, how well you speak to that particular person, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
and how basically different ways you approach when you have to lead. So if you ask me today, if uh, uh, for a sales guy, if AI can do a cold calling, I think that would be the best day, right? Right?
Yes.
Because
But soon those will also
not
be
sure
there. But
because
I mean, how effective is a
yeah.
question?
So today we
So
are very comfortable when I call to a bank and then try to get through IVR my bank account balance and everything, right? But I'm not sure
right.
someone bot calling me and asking for a cold calling and asking for an appointment. whether I will like the human or not.
Exactly.
Because when I'm a buyer, my ego comes into a picture, and a machine cannot satisfy that
I
ego,
mean, that's basic human psyche, right? You need to feel
right? Absolutely,
important, right? I mean,
absolutely.
so
So I
yeah.
think I will be most happiest person when the bot calls for a cold calling and then gets an appointment for the sales guys, right? Because that is the biggest hurdle for most of the guys in today's world when reaching
Sure,
out to the
yes. I'm sure, I mean, that's an ask which, like, most of the sales folks will be, like, really hoping for, that AI should really go to
yeah,
that level. But, I mean, this is really amazing. I think, I mean, these five pillars are truly insightful beyond the topic. I mean, I think, and it goes beyond sales
yeah,
teams also. Like, it's pretty fundamental to, any professional in
yeah,
today's times. I was actually going to ask you, about like the key skills managers should look out for, but I think, I mean, you have really like already given me that answer. But again, since we are talking about AI in
yeah,
specific, so uh, I just wanted to take that point further. So sales coaching and enablement are also
yeah,
evolving, right, with this AI driven
right,
insights, the ongoing part, the upskilling part
yeah,
of things. So how do you really see AI playing a pivotal role there, like just beyond forecasting or deal prioritization, the operational task
yes,
of it? Can AI really help me build on these softer skills and make me better at
yeah.
sales?
So definitely means, and so when you ask that which activity has to be given to AI and which activity has to be given to sales, right? So training and coaching comes as a hybrid work, right? So it's a
Yeah.
hybrid approach which you look at it. No one single approach will work there. I cannot say that I will do entire coaching and training through only AI. Not possible. Because so many times the junior people learn from the lot of things from observation on the field which happens,
Correct.
how that those things happen, right?
Yes.
And simultaneously I cannot say that I will start from abcd of sales by coaching myself to a greater extent, right? So we
Yeah.
need to differentiate in typical L&D language is basically training separately, which is one way process with coaching or maybe mentoring to a certain extent. So coaching may be on a higher side, maybe you require certain level of experience to get coached, but mentoring definitely can be looked at it. So training is basically a standard your training schedules from a sales side of it, where how you approach from the cold calling stage, how you approach the leads, how you do a market segmentation, the positioning part of it, right? What company offers, the matching to a requirements of a person. So these are all very standardized processes. Those all can be, you
Correct.
can create the videos, you can create course materials, you can create the modules, and you can create the knowledge repositories from that. And every time you learn
Yeah.
something, you keep updated on that particular stuff, and you make that engine more and more as you, because a lot of AI now goes to learn on their own from the modeling side of it, right? So you keep uploading that content so that AI engine get more and more trained on certain, and you keep asking the frequently asked questions coming from our customers. That way also you can
Right.
more trained to that particular engine, right? So any new guy who is joining should definitely use AI based training modules and approach, because for him, like as I said, the 25 years of experience does not matter, because today's days even 1 month a person is good, he can come to a equal level of knowledge understanding, right? So knowledge
Correct.
understanding,
Correct.
because you have already created a knowledge repository. As long as someone is ready to capture it, all things are there.
Right.
There is no time required to go through that. What is more important from a coaching side of it is, or a mentoring side of it, basically to make them understand the nuances beyond what is there in the training, right? As I said, that's where the wisdom comes into a picture, right? Which cannot
True.
be come from the typical training models to a level. So it's a combined approach. In fact, our organization also, we are trying to look at it a combined approach to both the things, where something which is can be done through automation, we should. Something has to be done human, then we need to have a human, and something which is there
Right.
where we can use both, we should use both. So there is no one approach to it which we can say, well, this is only going to work. No, it is coexist to a level.
Great, great, Amit. I mean, this has been like super helpful. I'm sure, there's so many insights in this, like half an hour session. I mean, it was power packed completely.
Yes.
And it's going to definitely help a lot of sales folks, like, to really view the whole AI revolution in the right perspective. Just to quickly recap, like, I mean, taking the crux of the entire conversation, definitely AI is not here to replace anyone, but it is more to equip you and really make you unstoppable in its true sense, right? I mean, where we are speaking about pairing the predictive power, the analytics power with human intuition, and which, like, takes care of your tedious task, but doubles, like, your
Yes.
uniqueness as an individual and collectively as a team, right? So all of everyone who has, like, been a part of this session today with us, I think, I mean, if there's one thing that, we can take from today's insights in this session that Amit shared with us, is like, I feel the future really belongs to the teams who can embrace AI as a force multiplier. Whether it is about auditing data, or forecasting tool, or upskilling reps, like, I mean, AI is seen running in every aspects of business, in sales functions, and, like, across the different operational elements of, like, any organization. So, like, it's more about, like, but then I think it's again inevitable, the same wave as we saw with digital marketing few years back. It has become like an mandated and an implied activity, right? It's no more an optional or a skill. So I think the same will be adopted with AI. So, the sooner we start, it's better for all of us. So let's start small. I mean, but do plunge into it to just experience the power of what AI really brings to business and to us as individuals.
Yeah,
So, Amit,
simplistically
just
putting in a very summarized way, see, we have a left brain and right brain, right? So left brain
yeah,
typically is a logic which has been now supported by AI. Now we have to start more and
yes,
more using the right brain of it to a level, right? That is where all sales guys has
true,
to
true,
now start learning it. Typical
yeah,
engineering mindset, which is based on a logic, is has been now supported by AI. Now, and that is where
right.
science has been taken care of by AI. Now, art has to be taken care of by the sales
The art has to be taken
guys.
care of. True, true. So, just on the ending note, Amit, like, if post this webinar, if one has to start leveraging AI, I mean, somebody who is starting, what would be the first step that you would recommend?
Yeah, the first step is basically to start understanding the different models which are available in the market, which
Yeah,
are helpful to you, because it's like evolving every day, right? And you cannot cope up with everything which is happening on every day, right? Understand which use cases you want to do it, which area of you want to improve upon using the AI primarily. Typically,
yeah,
as I said, if you are in a sales profession, it's a great tool to understand the industry. It gives you a lot of you can do, and it's the art of questioning is very important, Pranali, in this, right? So today,
right,
if you look at it, the entire prompt engineering based on the art of questioning, right? We
right,
need to have right. If you ask the right questions, you will get the right answers, kind of stuff. Otherwise, it will
right.
get a lot of junk to you, right? So
True,
from that side, even if you are a young, don't think that you are a young sales executive or you just started from that side of it, because the kind of inputs you can get from today's AI, various bots coming into a picture, I think that can give a lot of learning in terms of how the plans can happen. It not because I also tell to my team, right, why the planning is important, because the planning gives you an accountability. If your sales leader is doing a
correct,
planning, he is accountable for that, and then you are just executing that
right,
at the transactional level, right? But if you want to really take
yeah,
an accountability, you should be doing a planning, because once you do a planning, then the accountability comes with that particular planning. And these
correct,
tools can help you to do those kind of a planning, and whatever help you require from inputs, I think that's all available on net, all available on the industry, right? Maybe you don't get
yes,
exact details, but on a broader level you can do it. And there is always a sales coach, sales enablement process is there to help you in terms of how you accurately reach to your own plans to a greater heights, right? So I think it's a part and parcel of life now, like a mobile, and everyone should use AI for its benefits.
Absolutely. So again, like thanks a bunch, Amit. I mean, this has been a amazing session. I mean, thanks for sharing like your expertise and like really helpful insights with all of us today. Um, for all of us who did join or who will be looking through this recap, I'm sure this video will be like revisited for lot of content and takeaways. Everybody do like thank you again for joining us. I mean, do follow Sales Table for more such insightful discussions. We will keep this conversation going on our LinkedIn page, like where we talk about hashtag AI in sales. Thanks,
Thank
Amit,
you.
again. And thank you, everyone, for joining. This is Pranali from Sales Table signing off.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
day.
Pranav. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye. Bye, Amit.